There is absolutely no denying that throughout the years, volleyball in the Philippines has burned bright. Talented and charismatic superstars, top-notch action, and heated rivalries have kept the sport aflame. But like for most sports, the COVID-19 pandemic doused the fire, leaving just embers of what was a steady momentum volleyball has built in the country. How can it pick up the pieces and regain its spark? That's our headline in tonight's edition of Sports Page.
The hottest headlines.
The integral issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game changers.
The history makers.
Stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the Sports Page. And salutations to all you sports fans and welcome back to the Sports Page. There may be an absence of live events to follow, but there's no dearth at all of discussions about your favorite sports. And that's exactly what we're going to do here tonight with my partner, my co-host, my longtime partner covering so many sports, Congresswoman Chiki Ro-Uno.
Hey, Seb. Before we get going, we want to remind everybody we do not have a monopoly of opinions here. That's why we encourage all of you viewers to post your comments on our live stream on TV5's Facebook page or share your thoughts on whatever social media platform you are in. Just make sure you include #SportsPage, and we would appreciate if you join our conversation tonight. We had so much fun in our last episode talking volleyball that we decided to have a part 2. But this time, what will we be tackling? We will be focusing more on the possibility of volleyball's return. And joining us today are our esteemed guests. Esteemed talaga. Charismatic, sabi mo, Sev. Sige na nga, PSL Commissioner Doc Ian Laurel. Sige na nga, I missed you. Doc Ian.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
And kahit na alam kong busy ka, you still find time to do what we've been doing for the longest time.
Snacks. Kasama din natin, yes. Kasama din natin, Spikers Turf Commissioner, and among other things, syempre, Mother of the Year, Mozzie Ravena. Hi, Mozzie.
Hello.
Hi. We also have Mika Reyes of the Santa Lucia Lady Realtors and John Vic de Guzman of the PLDT Home Fiber Ultra Fast Hitters. Hi, guys. We will start our conversation. Paano ba to? Age before beauty. Unahin na natin si Doc Ian kung gano'n, di ba? Hi. Hindi, sige, let's start with you, Doc Ian. Let me ask you, 3 months into the lockdown, are you bullish about the PSL coming back, or is it parang medyo nadadown ka thinking, is there an end to this?
Yeah, well, from the very start, we were really very optimistic that hindi magtatagal and we'll be ready to come back. We prepared multiple versions depending on when we will be allowed. No? Pero sa nakikita natin ngayon, Chiki, and I'm sure all of us will agree, the government's approval is a must, unang-una, and health always comes first. And not only is this affecting our players, but it's affecting everybody. It's a medical concern that affects everybody. Now, when it comes to our program, we agreed, all our team owners in the PSL have agreed that we will ask permission to first practice, at least face-to-face practice. But for the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we have been doing daily monitoring with our players. We have assigned a medical officer per team.
Let's go to Mozzie. I'm sure same thing, no, with Spikers Turf. Ganun din siguro ang pinaprioritize nyo kung ano yung pwedeng gawin. But aside from that, I'm sure you have a feel for what the players are feeling now. Mozzie, ano ba? Are they raring to go or are they scared?
Well, I'm sure, before they go back, gusto nila siguro there's a system, how to do it when it comes to the league, si Spikers Turf. But again, as per Spikers Turf naman, it's also in government decision nga, we're waiting for it. But in the event na, let's say, they finally allow, we're really trying our best to put at least one conference before the year ends.
Okay. Mika and John Vic, let's start with Mika. Mika, this is the longest time I have not covered you in a volleyball game. This is the longest time from your UAAP days to now.
Yes, sir.
How are you being affected by ang tagal ng walang laro? I'm sure after a while nakakasawa na yung walling na I'm sure nagwo-walling with your bahay. Pero sa mga hindi alam, you hit the volleyball against the wall and it bounces back.
Yes.
How does it feel for you, Mika?
Well, honestly, sir, medyo nakakababa ng moral talaga. But at the same time, hindi ko rin naman po pwedeng pabayaan yung kondisyon ko. So, I always make sure na every day, hindi ako makakamiss ng workout. And luckily, yung younger sister ko po, volleyball player din. Kaya hindi lang po ako sa wall na kapag ball handling. May ka-spike receive po ako. Kaya ayun naman yung okay ngayon, kahit nasa bahay lang po ako.
John Vic, ikaw?
Same po sa sinabi ni Mika, but yun nga, the last 3 months ago, na-lockdown po kasi ako sa Isabela, sa Rivero family. So, good thing naman na halos yung iba sa kanila, marunong mag-volleyball, and yung body condition every day, nagpa-practice kami. Kaso yun nga, sad to say, iba pa rin yung may tournament at may pinaghahandaan kang liga. Well, especially for the men's volleyball. Alam naman natin na, di ba, may magandang program na yung men's volleyball after nung SEA Games last year. But yun nga, na-stop dahil sa pandemic. So, sayang lang yung time sana na sana ginugugol namin together.
Sa maraming nagsasabi, and many are saying that it's easier for volleyball to come back because pwedeng i-manage yung contact. Of course, ang saya ng volleyball yung high five, di ba, pag naka-point ka. But is that true? Mas madali ang pagbabalik o mas mahirap? Doc Ian, umpisa sa'yo.
Alright, if we go back to what the IATF has allowed already, sports such as golf, tennis, cycling, those are all non-contact sports, and that falls under the category of dividing sports into non-contact and contact. That's a big distinction. Volleyball, strictly speaking, by definition, is considered a non-contact sport. Contact sports, by definition, means you need to have physical contact for you to have an advantage over your opponent. In volleyball, konti lang, bihira lang yung pagkakataon, maybe in blocking, magdidikit kayo, and paghahabol ng bola, magkakabanggaan, magkakagawan. So, in a way, if we base it on the definition, volleyball falls under that category also. So, that's my take on it. So, I'm still optimistic that it won't be back to the normal way that we played volleyball. Big stadiums, big
susundot ako dyan, ha? Yeah, I wanna...
Most likely, it will be different. The setup will be different. Pero if you look at the essential factors that the IATF considers and the DOH considers, may lusot eh. Ako, feeling ko pwede.
Sev, susundot ako dyan, ha? Before Mosi goes on, actually, Sev, if you don't mind, I'm putting myself in the place of John Vic and Mika. Kapag naririnig mo yung ganyan na sinasabi ng mga commissioner ng mga liga, na under these circumstances, pwede na tayo mag-start. Feeling nyo ba secure kayo, safe kayo? Is this something that you're willing to do or may takot pa rin ba, Mika?
John Vic?
Hintay kita magsalita.
Ako personally po, medyo nag-aalangan pa po. Yeah, go.
Oo, I can imagine.
Naman,
sige, John Vic, go.
Siguro po, I think for me, medyo nag-aalangan, gaya ng sinabi ni Mika, pero gaya rin ng sinabi ni Doc, tsaka for sure ni Tita Mosi, alam naman nila yung mas makakabuti for the athletes kung kailan mag-start or kailan ibabalik yung mga volleyball games. Kasi alam naman natin na, di ba, isa rin, hindi lang form of entertainment, pero sa mga athletes like us na naglalaro for the club teams, work na rin namin yun. Yun yung may pumapasok na income for us. Tapos yung mga gaya namin yun, let's say sa men's volleyball, yan, wala kaming game. So, stop din po yung, kumbaga, monthly na natatanggap namin for the sports that we're playing.
Okay. Mosi, we'll ask you then, we can go into a break, but Mosi first, feasible ba bumalik ang volleyball? Hindi ba siya masyadong contact sport based on sinabi ni Doc Ian?
Sa akin siguro crucial yung mga sports na mag-open, ano? Siguro papanoodin natin ano bang mangyayari sa kanila, diba? And it's also good yung sinabi nga ni John Vic because I'm pretty sure both kami ni Ian, ano, we will make sure na comfortable yung players once they go to, let's say, start the league again. We'll make sure na there's a system na paano bang masesecure sila, na safe sila while playing, diba? So I guess ganun din kay Ian, ano, sa league. So, I think importante yan kasi paano ka makakalaro at diba, yung magulo din yung isip mo na parang, baka nga may ganito, may mahawa. So, competition. Ako, I'm hopeful pa rin. Like Ian, I'm hopeful na sana kahit isang conference, magpatuloy tayo before the year ends.
Yeah.
But again, ang magiging crucial dito, may mga sports na kasi mag-start soon, di ba? So I think titignan natin sila kung ano rin yung mangyayari sa kanila and how they're going to do it.
Okay, there's always so much more to talk about. There's never enough time here on the sports page, but we'll try our best to touch all the bases, although on topic is very much volleyball. We'll go into specifics of how the game can return. Like for instance, matawa kayo siguro, kailangan ba natin i-disinfect yung bola every time na magsaserve si John Vic o kaya si and the other players? Alamin natin ang mga posibleng sagot sa pagbabalik ng Sports Page. We are with the chairman of the Philippine Superliga, Mr. Philip Elawico, and we'd like to talk volleyball. Sir, do you see the PSL returning anytime, even with the pandemic going on?
Well, sir, we hope to do that. We've been working on that for the last, I think, almost a month and a half to get the attention, for example, of the IAPF, the DOH, and the PSC to allow, let's say, volleyball and several other sports to allow the athletes to at least train and do it by phase. Training first for 1 month. If we succeed in following all the protocols and there are no untoward events, we should be allowed to continue another week until we will be allowed to relaunch the competition. We have submitted already all of the protocols to PSL, submitted to the PSC, to the DOH, all of the necessary protocols, very detailed from the moment you enter the gymnasium on the covered court to the time you leave it, and including even before you go there, okay, what you're supposed to do.
There are a lot of people saying that volleyball seems to be more feasible. There's a net separating the two sides. Of course, there's so much joy when a point is scored. But do you think that the game, volleyball, has a better chance of returning more quickly compared to other sports?
Yes, although some people say they classify it as a contact sport. I say, when you say contact sport, you mean the players really intend to bump or get into contact with other players. That is part of the game. Now in volleyball, you precisely avoid that is unintended contact. We are as eager as everyone to have to bring back the games so that our fans will get to enjoy them once again.
You heard PSL Chairman Philip Elawico share his sentiments about the current state of volleyball in the country. And now we'll find out more what the thoughts are of the players. We've asked, some of them we've asked actually Mika and John Vic. We appreciate their honesty about the way they feel. We've asked other players what they think, if it is feasible for volleyball to return soon. To be safe, we will keep them anonymous this time. One player said it is not safe, especially the number of cases here in the Philippines is high. So it is a major risk if we continue. Another player said maybe it is safe towards end of the year and to play without a live audience. And if there are protocols and measures in place to ensure the safety of the team. Another player answered, we all miss volleyball. The players inside the court playing with their hearts out. For me, I want to resume because I miss everything about volleyball, but safety comes first. And lastly, one player said, pataas ng pataas yung COVID-19 cases. Hindi safe ituloy hanggat walang vaccine. John Vic, Mika, na-imagine nyo ba na naglalaro unang-una na naka-face mask? Hindi naman yata yun ang required, pero conditions like this and sasaba kayo after being cold for a while. Yung sabi nga nung ibang mga athletes, we talked to some basketball players, meron yung parang kalawang factor. Issue ba yan sa inyo ngayon?
Well, miss, kung ayun naman po yung kailangan, gagawin ko naman po. Kung para lang makapaglaro ng volleyball, mag-face mask po talaga ako. Sige.
Ang hirap.
Masunurin, oo,
Well,
pero mahirap. Go ahead, John Vic.
Actually, ano nga po yun nga sabi, safety first. Pero I don't think parang mahirap para sa mga athletes Kahit practices pa lang, mahirap po talaga huminga. Yung normal day nga lang po na pang-araw-araw na pag bumibili tayo, nag-grocery tayo, ang hirap pong huminga, sa totoo lang. What more kung hinahabol mo pa yung hininga mo dahil sa pagod? Paano ka makakapaglaro at saka makakakuha ng energy?
Ang maganda lang, Chef, pwede ka na ngayon pag may gusto ka sabihin, hindi makikita na referee.
Oo.
Pwede na.
Hindi mo na kailangang umikot.
Okay yan Pero iba yung iba yung Cywar pag ganyan, 'di ba? Usually to mga, 'di ba, yung psychological game ng mga volleyball players, kailangan ngayon makuha ka sa tingin, 'di ba? Kasi hindi na nakikita yung bibig.
Matahan na lang.
Matahan na lang. Oo. Pero Seb, kanina, sabi mo,
sa totoo lang, sa totoo lang, feasible ba? Kailangan ba, ganun ba, Doc, Ian and Monsi, alkoholan natin ng bola, mas marami, ang dami na nating bola sa game, ito ba ay pwedeng i-implement o talaga napaka-impractical?
No, it's easy to implement if you're just talking about sanitizing the field of play, which includes all the equipment that are there. Madali. We can
Because
have...
we actually do it, di ba?
We actually do it. We wipe it with dry... So nagagawa natin yun. So another suggestion that we heard about was that wala munang change court or change ng bench during palitan ng set para hindi na mahihirapan mag-sanitize ng area na yun yung mga tao natin. That's one. Also, another factor is...
pag yung games, pwedeng may 1 hour, di ba? Before the other game.
Yeah, no use of locker room, Sev. Another thing is that maybe you can shorten the protocols para umiksi yung oras na magkakasama sila sa ganun ka-liit na space. Maybe another adjustment is to shorten from 25 points per set. Baka pwedeng, just for now, bawasan yon para umikli yung laro. Things like that can be
babalik sa panahon yung dalawa, side out na naman?
Hindi,
mas matagal, sir. Mas matagal, sir.
21 lang, pero ano pa rin. Pero rally point pa din.
Before the game, di ba?
Wala naman shake hands.
Mozzie, one of the things that we have to consider also is how to keep the interest of the fans. Kasi we don't want to change the face of the game. Can you imagine yung walang huddle, walang high five, walang kantsawan na ganyan? Medyo naiiba yung mukha ng volleyball. The excitement that we so love, we want to be able to preserve that. Do you think that will suffer because of COVID?
Well, kesa sa wala, chicks, I think they would rather, di ba, go for that. Okay lang yun. Pwede. Basta they can just watch the game. Ang problema pala yung watching pa. So, siguro, maybe wala munang audience. Talaga live audience. Diba? Yung mga ganang steps. Tama si Ian. And we have to take it one day at a time. Parang take measures. Tingnan natin if it will work. I think tama siya na practice muna. Makikita natin doon. Sa akin kasi, what's important is if I prioritize kasi how the players feel. So pag feeling talaga nila uncomfortable sila, so I guess talaga hindi pwede. Because paano nila mabibring out yung best ng game nila if they're feeling uncomfortable, diba, during the game.
That's right. Actually, Mozzie, we asked some of the fans what they think about everything that you're saying. So we're going to hear from the side of the fans naman, how excited are they to see their idols back on the court. We'll tackle that when we return here on Sports Page.
How hopeful am I na volleyball will resume in the Philippines? Siguro, to be honest, mixed feelings ako ngayon. Yes, I'm hoping for the best, pero still I'm expecting the worst kasi hindi mo pa rin maiwasan to get anxiety when you see the negative news in the media. So, gaya nga na sabi ko kanina, I shouldn't stress myself on things I cannot control. So, dapat tuloy-tuloy lang yung training. I should keep myself busy, keep my mental health stable, so that when the time comes, I'll be physically and mentally prepared.
And we're back here on Sports Page. For this episode, we asked, do you think volleyball leagues in the Philippines should also restart soon? Ano bang sabi ninyo? Iman Canicosa said, I guess it depends on how the country is doing in its fight against COVID-19. If cases are still rising, then it might be too risky to resume even if players and officials want to. Aurora Benigno says, sayang yung panalo ng men's team sa SEA Games kung hindi magtutuloy-tuloy kaya sana bumalik na ang Spikers turf. Just follow safety rules. Chester Fajardo says, not yet. Not unless the leagues can ensure the safety of players, coaches, and staff. It only takes one COVID-positive case to suspend the entire tournament. Ai Aguya says, as much as I want to see Spikers turf athletes playing sa court ulit, mahirap i-risk ang health nila ngayong may pandemic pa. Chenny Ramos says, depende. Masisiguro ba ng liga na mapapanatiling ligtas ang mga manlalaro? To be honest, mahirap i-contain yung sakit. Kahit NBA, nagkakaroon ng problema kahit pupunta sila sa bubble. Before we talk shop again, I want to hear from you, Mika, and from John Vic. Ano ba yung mga bago nyong na-discover tungkol sa sarili nyo? Magaling ka ba pala mag-TikTok o magluto, Mika?
Si John Vic po. Hindi pa ako nag-TikTok masyado.
Hindi rin ako nag-TikTok. Nag-TikTok ka, nag-post ka nga sa Facebook.
Pero hindi ako marunong talaga sumayaw. Nagtatry lang po. Wala naman pong masama mag-try.
Bago tayo nagkaroon ng lockdown, matunog na matunog sa lahat ng media yung pinag-uusapang posibleng merging o magkakaroon ng crossover games ang PSL at saka ang PBL. No? Ito ba ay tuloy pa? I know it's called the Unity Cup. I'd love to hear it from Ian and Mosi. Where are we with that? I'm sure the fans would love to see this. And it would be fun to work with you two guys again. Huh?
Again, yeah.
We should combine the panels. Chiki Rawa will also work. What do you think?
baka hindi natin kayang bayaran yung TNT.
Okay, Ian, tuloy ba yan?
Yeah, well, I think everything came out already in social media and in the newspapers. No? Talagang Mr. Palu and Mr. Huico and myself, we were already talking bago pa nag-COVID. And it was progressing to the point that we were already talking about the format, we were talking about kailan, we were talking about even the venue at kung saan gagawin. And those details wouldn't have been on the table if both parties in the first place didn't agree to come up with such an event. So I think both parties are steadfast that we both want to have that event. Unfortunately, COVID happened, the lockdown happened, and natigil yung usapan. But I'm sure once we're ready to talk again, sit down again, we're gonna have the same attitude towards this, and if not this year, definitely next year.
Mosi?
Well, exactly. Yun rin yung sinabi sa akin ni Sir Ricky. Parang they had initial talks already, but yun nga, it nag-stop because of COVID. And I think, siguro nga, it's not the time to talk about it muna. But it's just there. It's just there. So, maganda rin yun, especially nga if, like, haluan pa ng charity, di ba, Seb? We can all parang, libre tayo, di ba? Pwede, di ba, we'll help out. Like, everybody will really help out. And I think the fans will really love that.
Well, ako nga, Seb, let me just add, whenever we talk about these developments, and hindi tayo sanay with the old one, and we're supposed to accept the new normal, maybe this is the new normal when we get back. A united women's volleyball league in the country, why not?
On that note, what do you think, the players? Mika, ikaw, anong nakikita mo yung Unity Cup na pinag-uusapan? Kasi sa men's, parang okay na tayo, There's one league.
Yeah.
Mika, what do you think?
Sir, if magkakaroon po talaga ng Unity Cup, hopefully po talaga sana matuloy. Kasi ayun na rin naman po yung gusto ng mga players. And iba pa rin naman po talaga kapag iisa lang yung liga. Alam niyo naman po, may mga fans talaga na gustong-gusto na yung schedule para, kasi yung iba minsan na natotorn ba, na parang may game sa ganito, may game sa kabila. So parang sabi nila, bakit hindi lang isang liga na lang kayo, tapos susuportahan namin kayo lahat. Para ang masarap naman po sa feeling na pag nangyari yun, pati po yung mga fans, magkakaisa po lalo.
One quick message from John Vic before we go. Sa fans mo, what should they expect? Go ahead.
Sa lahat po ng sumusuporta sa men's and women's volleyball, tapos sa men's volleyball especially, wag lang po kayo magsawa dahil alam naman po natin na may nasimulan na tayo. Hopefully, right after ng pandemic, magtuloy-tuloy pa po tayo. Basta wag lang po kalimutan na mas magtulong-tulong at magdasal tayo para safe po ang lahat.
Thank you so much, John Vic. Thank you, Mika. Thank you, Ian and Mozzie.
Thank you so
Sev,
much.
bitin na.
Oo nga, bitin,
Oo
chicks.
nga.
Kaya kailangan matuloy yung UPT ka para mas mahaba ang talakayan.
Naku,
Bitin.
mahaba.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. You know what? I still remember those days when the people from the broadcast team outnumbered the number of fans in a volleyball game. But you know, the sport, and you know this, has grown by leaps and bounds in the last 2 decades, and championship games, both in the college as well as in the higher levels, are filled with all of you fans in the different venues for all the exciting volleyball matches. Sadly, for all of us, these days are placed in the back burner for now. And that is all because of COVID-19. We could all go back and forth to a long rally and debate whether it's feasible or not, but let's hope for better days for our sport. But perhaps that's the start, to bring volleyball back into the conversation of sports. And this is important too, with or without fans in the stands. In behalf of my partner, Chiki Roa Puno, this is Seb Sarmenta saying thank you for joining us as we close the sports page.
The hottest headlines.
The Integral issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game
The
changers.
history makers.
Stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the sports page.